Let's talk about Maryland. Coach Mike Loxley. Not a name that people bring up very often, to be honest. Guarantee if you ask a lot of casual fans out there, I think they would be like, "Who is this guy?" Right? But he's done a pretty dang good job over there at Maryland. Defensively, all these key losses you can see are on the defensive side of the ball. They were okay defensively last year, which is not always the case at Maryland, but here we are. Banks, Bennett, DBs that you lose there, really tough. And then they lose pretty much everyone on the D line, which
Yeah.
is always kind of a head scratcher in terms of trying to evaluate what this team's going to be like the next year. I think offensively, though, they returned some key guys. Now, that wide receiver room last year, I think people hyped up a lot, and maybe it didn't live up to the ceiling that people thought it was going to be, but
hmm
it might be still an okay receiving room this year. Talia Tagovailoa is back in his final year of eligibility. Finally,
He's still there, which is crazy.
he's still there, which is wild. But they bring in a couple transfers on the offensive line, at wide receiver. What are your thoughts on the Maryland Terrapins over under 7.5?
I think this is a really intriguing team. I think 7.5 is kind of high. I don't I don't think I would play the over there. I wouldn't take the under because I think this team for sure has the upside to get up to 8 wins. If the line was at 7, I would for sure take the over there. I just because I think the downside is at 7-5 for them. I think 8-5, maybe even 9-3 is not an unrealistic, schedule record for them. Mike Loxley's done a really good job building that program, and they got a good draw from the West too. So I think it's interesting. Josh Gaddis is really, really interesting fit at offense coordinator there. I think he was bad at Miami. We all saw that. He did not fit with Mark Cristobal. He did not fit with Tyler Van Dyke. I think he fits with Loxley. I think they have ties back to Bama when they were both there. Gaddis, I think, was a wide receiver coach when Loxley was offense coordinator there. I think they could be really interesting pairing them back up with Talia Tagovailoa. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Maryland there.
Yeah, you mentioned Josh Gaddis. I'm not his biggest fan, right? I'm also not Kevin Sumlin's biggest fan. And they are both co-offensive coordinators there. So I don't know. I for this, I actually lean under because I think this defense was just exceptional last year and relative to like what you would expect from Maryland. Kept them in some games that maybe they shouldn't have been in down the stretch. Even that Ohio State game was pretty close, if I recall, down the stretch. Uh, Offensively, I do like some of the guys that they bring in, but I don't want to play this game again where we're saying, "Oh, these are the guys. These are the guys." I really like Tyrese Chambers. Caden Prathers is also really good as well, but so is Raheem Jarrett. I don't know. I'm pretty hesitant to take any kind of over, which is why I would lean under, even though the schedule is incredibly favorable for them.
Yeah.
I think in a normal schedule, I think their over under would be like 6.5. But this schedule from the West, like you mentioned, not that bad. You draw Illinois, which is a good team, but you get them at home. Northwestern, yikes, and at Nebraska. Like that's not a scary draw at all. That's
It's
not a
about
scary
as good as
draw.
it gets. That's about as good as it gets, from
Yeah, if you're looking at win total in the Big Ten West, that is definitely as good as it gets. Maybe you could argue Minnesota, but I don't know. I think we both think Minnesota's pretty decent this year. But I mean, you get Illinois at home, so I don't know. I don't know. I can't take the over. I don't think I can take the under confidently with the schedule. You said winning 9 games. I don't think they're winning every game after Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. But look, they could surprise me. They could surprise me. So I don't know.
yeah.
What are your
The,
thoughts on
the,
their defense
uh,
this year?
I know Banks and Bennett and the D line, they were really, really good. But I think Dino Brown is a guy they brought in from the FCS. Really, really good player. Can rush the passer there. Tommy Kingsvid Sode, I think his name is. I'm sorry if I butchered that. He's a guy in year 3 that they love. And then Jordan Phillips from Tennessee coming over, who had a really, really good spring. Their linebacking core is what you like about them, which if it's your strength, is probably not the best thing in the world. But Ruben Hippolyte, very, very experienced guy. Fanaji Gote, also experienced. Jashawn Barham was a true freshman last year, was arguably one of the best players on defense. He's going to explode this year. The problem is replacing those corners in Banks and Bennett. Jaquan Shepard, the guy from Cincinnati they're bringing in, pretty good. And Threeb still in the slot. The thing is, they need younger guys to step up, and that's never a good sign, especially at cornerback at a vulnerable position like that. Their safeties are pretty good, though. Bo Braid is a monster. He's probably their best player coming back on defense. And then Dante Trader at safety, really athletic dude. Plays across for them, too. So it shows how athletic he is, how versatile he is. So they can do some fun things with him. The defense will be – that's not going to be the strength of this team, which it probably shouldn't be with Talia and Mike Loxley and all that talent on the wide receivers. But we'll see. If they can be serviceable, they got a chance to win some games here.
Yeah, I guess I'll say it's a serviceable defense, but I don't think a serviceable defense wins you 8 games in the Big Ten. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going. That's why I'm not taking the over there. Last thing I will say though is that O-line is their biggest question mark for sure. They had 2 to the portal, 2's in the NFL now. DeMar Goulet is the only returner there. They like him at tackle, and then Gottlieb Ayedze, I think is a small school guy that could have gone to the NFL if you want to do, but decided to transfer to Maryland, come back home. He's going to be a monster for them. He'll be a guy you need to know in NFL circles. Everyone else is a huge question mark, though. Very unproven. Some nice talent, but huge question mark there.
Yeah, definitely. Their tight end also transferred out of there to Alabama, which is like a huge get for Alabama. So, which tells me that that's a loss for Maryland. So, definitely too many question marks for me this year for Maryland. Too many question marks, but definitely excited to see what they got, though. I like watching Talia play. He's exciting sometimes. So
Gonna miss him.